This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everyone. We're going to talk about things that you might not have heard. You might not have even thought it might be on a podcast, but it's something that's been around a long time and definitely can support women and intimacy and so much more. She does as an intimacy and empowerment coach, helps women get in touch with their body and their mind. And so great to have her back. As a man, I'm learning as well. Teja Valentin is on the program. How are you doing today?
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
So it's all about the yoni, right?
For right now, yes. My radar, Yoni is very much present for me because I'm about to begin a new 6-week program. It's called Unique, uh, a sacred wisdom portal. So basically, it's a reclamation of our Yoni portal, the wisdom that is held within that space, and I do this with yoni eggs. So I'm about to lead women through a 6-week program where they would have their yoni egg, and they usually, I know people like, what, but I have been through this, and I had pelvic floor dysfunction years ago. I had pain so bad that I could barely walk because everything was so like extremely like tight and in pain, and all the muscles and everything, because I was dealing with some GYN issues as far as I basically never not had a period. I was always bleeding. It was very heavy, and I became anemic. I was so weak, and I had to go to pelvic floor therapy, like
Wow.
PT, like physical therapy, but I literally had to go to pelvic floor therapy. And, it's very interesting that, I mean, I was grateful. I mean, glad that they have this, but they would use like a little marble wand to like press on so that you could focus your energy there so that they can train you to release, like to not hold that, not be squeezing, but to relax. I didn't know what it was to relax my pelvic floor. And so that was basically causing so much pain. And so thankfully, through that therapy, I made the connection of the muscle mind, like how I could release that. And then from there, I had a friend who was an Ayurvedic practitioner, and she said to me, "Well, why don't you try using the yoni egg to continue that therapy?" And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I have a feeling I knew
Mm.
what it was. And it was exactly what I thought. It's like a crystal egg that you insert in the vagina, and then you can do exercises with it. And it's very interesting because, these are crystals. So there's three that I primarily work with. The rose quartz. If you know rose quartz, it's that pink. It's a very gentle self-love kind of energy that we can use. There's also like a green aventurine, and pink and green are the colors of the heart chakra. So it's like very self-love, love, gratitude, compassion, and healing. So I
Wow.
was using, interchangeably. Uh, I think I started off with the rose quartz and then graduate to the green aventurine, but I did feel it was working. It was definitely working because I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't even, I was in so much pain, never mind feeling anything. I think I was just in pain but numb at the same time. And the egg you know, it helps sensitize all the tissues to feel again. It also helps increase lubrication. It helps the, and then you start off with a larger egg, right? Which might sound counterintuitive, but it helps you to feel the egg, to like actually be able to, your vasculature could to grip it. And then you can do these pelvic floor exercises. Just basically inhale, squeeze like a Kegel,
Hmm.
and then exhale, totally relax. We don't know what it is to relax, right? We're just always go, go, go. And that's how I felt. And plus, um, I don't know what it was. It's like you almost like in fight or flight mode. I was just like holding the whole time stress.
Well,
And
it's so many
yeah,
things to identify here.
yeah,
I've heard of the yoni egg. Didn't from the male perspective here, didn't know the deeper details on it, and that I thought it could be more for just for intimacy, not everything that we're talking about. But what I find interesting is as soon as you said crystal, right away my mind was going toward, I wonder if she's talking about crystals that harness the power of energy.
yes,
And yeah, within arm's reach right now, I have a rose quartz, the green one you're talking about. I think I have it over there. Well, here's a stake of selenite that's always in front of me to keep things
yep,
energetically clean in the area.
yeah,
I'm not talking inside the body, but just in the air. So I get it. But also for what you're describing, many of us, as I understand it, hold tension and we don't even know we're doing it. There's something called the Alexander technique, and for your whole body. I'm not just talking in one area where, and that has been around for 150 years, and that is designed to help you release tension. We hold tension everywhere, especially shoulders and trapezoids and things like that. So I'm intrigued how a lot of what we're talking about translates truly toward energy. And I guess in this instance, the release of certain energy that is uncomfortable.
yes. Right. So that is true because so I mentioned the three common ones that I work with is the rose quartz, the green aventurine, and then the black obsidian. So the black obsidian withdraws that negativity, pulls that negativity, like what, right? You got one?
Holding it right here, and I need to get a bigger piece because, and for anybody that can't see, this is like the size of a dime,
Yeah.
but wider. But somebody told me that, and very intuitive, very into crystals, into Reiki, that they have a piece that is about the size of your cell phone, and he's a medical practitioner, and he takes it and just cleanses the room with it,
Yes.
in between patients because it's energy. Sometimes
Yeah.
there's stuck energy, negative
Yeah.
energy. Just you want to fresh, wipe the
Mhm.
slate clean.
Yeah. Yeah. It helps to pull that negative energy in and out.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Um, how long? The Yanni egg? Where did this come from? Is this
It
well
comes from
Ayurvedic?
a Taoist tradition. So it's been around a long time. I actually thought, I can't give you exact number, but like I believe archaeologists actually found them like in the deep when we're digging in this, an archaeological dig. So it's been around like civilization. So it's very old. And um, but fast forward to today, um, so easily accessible, very easily accessible. And then, women I know sometimes when I mention them, they're like, "Oh my God, like, is it gonna get lost? Like, how do I work with it, right?" And so you can have like a drilled egg, a non-drilled egg, and then you would just string it with something that is hygienic, like a dental floss. And then this way you can easily,
Hmm.
you don't have to wait for it to like fall out. You can just, whenever you're done, you're done. But for me, it was very life-changing because
Wow.
I had, I think we talked about this in the previous episode where I had many surgeries of uterine surgeries and fibroids, growing fibroids, and then after that, subsequently, I had a lot of pain. And when I started using the eggs, my pelvic floor strengthened, and I actually learned how to relax. That's the key. I was very good at squeezing and holding, but I didn't know what it was to relax
But
and
squeezing and
feel.
holding, you didn't even know you were doing it unless you were
No.
conscious of it. It was just, again, those two words, you were holding tension. And I would have to imagine from all the things you've been through, it's almost as if a self-protection mode
Yeah.
where your body's on guard. I don't
You're
want to,
unsafe. You
yeah,
feel unsafe,
yeah,
uneasy. So women maybe who've had sexual abuse, right? They, those eggs are would be so good because A, they're bringing self-love. Sometimes you feel dirty, not worthy, if you've
mm,
had some abuse, and that would help bring that kind of gentle energy to you so that you can have compassion for that part of yourself because you weren't you're not responsible for
sure.
that, but you are in charge of your own energy. So that would be a good way to um, renew or reconnect to that part of yourself that in a safe container, right?
Sure.
On your own time, on your own terms.
The rose quartz, as you mentioned,
Mhm.
as I understand it, it fosters love. So
Yes.
this is almost like fostering love for yourself. So you're in
Yeah.
a safe place, comfortable. When you use the egg, can that be anywhere, anytime, your choice? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It just depends on the individual.
Yeah. I mean, preferably at home. I mean, I like to do it at home because, I don't want any freaky things happening outside of the home. So like, I'm prepared. I
Sure.
usually will set like a candle or incense or something and have, just relaxing. I'll do breath work with it
Mm.
and just inviting in that loving, gentle energy. If there is something that I actually want to clear or work on from past, maybe a past relationship or from when I was younger, I can bring that in. And it's totally up to the woman. Or maybe you want to feel more empowered, right? You're going to breathe a little more forcefully, breath of fire or something. You want to raise that energy, you can do that as well. It doesn't have to be soft and gentle, and that will help um, bring in that more of that vital life force energy.
It reminds me of many of us hold tension and that energy, even in our stomachs. Certainly, I get that. I've had ulcers before because of it. Life situations create that. And it's different, but it's kind of the same where that's where it manifests. You're wound up like a ball, if you will, in your stomach, and then there's issues. It needs to
Yeah.
be relaxed and chill out. And it sounds like that's what is happening here, but not just on the physical level, because it's crystals on the energetic level. And maybe for anybody that's unfamiliar
Hmm.
with crystals and what they do with energy, maybe we should explain that. Just maybe just a primer, a brief, introduction into that.
Yeah. Well, I believe, everything is energy. So I think these are like Earth's gifts to us. It's like um, and whenever trying to discern like what is good for what, just look at the color, like I think everything works with, again, the energy. So the chakra centers are these energy centers of different consciousness. And specifically, I think we've talked about this, we touched on it last time, where the throat and the sacral chakra are connected because these are the two centers of expression,
Yep.
right? Um, so here it's for me, it is very connected. The fact that I was having sacral chakra issues, right? The pelvic floor, the bleeding, the pain, the fibroids. And I also had like a lot of surgeries in the throat. And so when I'm healing the yoni part, as far as the pain, discomfort, I was also working on clearing the throat chakra, expressing my truth, like not holding back on my words, and being able to express that. So it really for me it was super powerful. And
Wow.
I have I don't mean to cut you off if but it brought me to a whole nother thought. Women sometimes will tell me they're just like almost bracing themselves, eyes shut and holding during sex because they're in pain, right?
Yep.
And but when you can relax the body, open the eyes, and actually sound like breathe, like right? Like you can breathe, you're opening up that channel so that you're not holding that you're bracing yourself because now you're telling your body you're not safe. So when you can open up and relax, right? So having maybe like a practice beforehand, it would be a nice way to, if you know that you're going to have, sexy time later, your body's feeling good, more relaxed. So that's another thing.
I have to imagine uh, the other benefit is it's like doing Kegels. You're strengthening muscles, being more aware of what's going on down there. Um, so that's one benefit. But then the energetic benefit, because it's crystals, I had no idea. I didn't even know you rolled that way in terms of understanding energy, crystals, and such. I've heard, don't know if this is true. Tell me your thoughts. The reason that crystals resonate and work within us, certainly it's energy. I've got that. We have crystals in our body. Have you ever heard that?
Vaguely, yeah. I can explain that one, but I
Hmm.
believe somewhere down the line I have heard that.
Yeah, because and I've always heard this, you need to get grounded, right? Best way to get grounded, we
Yes.
go back into
Yeah.
nature. I'm going back into nature. And I was like,
Yes.
when I was younger, you'd hear that. I'm like, yeah, well, you're walking in the woods. What's that going to do for you? Come on. Now that I've learned about it and studied it and practice it and feel the benefits, then I realized that we are nature.
Mm-hmm.
We came from nature.
Mm-hmm.
Where did the crystal come from? Nature. So it's like we're getting back to nature, whether you're walking in the woods, whether it's a yoni egg, it's all kind of connected to the earth and
Yeah.
nature, you know?
And um, probably a little TMI, but if one time I didn't realize that I had a practice in the morning, and then the person I was with, we were intimate, and he was like, I don't know what is happening down there, but it's crazy energy. Like he felt the energy, and
Wow.
I'm like, really? Like, and I was so not even conscious of, and then I started giggling inside because then I remembered, and I was like, oh wow, that's interesting. And then again, it happened again, like then a few times later, and I was like, wow, that is so cool.
Mm,
So I was using at that time one with a higher energy, dragon's blood. So
wow.
does not sound a little more powerful.
It does.
So that one had a little more energy to it. He felt it, and I was, I didn't say anything. I was just like, wow, really? Because it actually took me a few moments to realize what the connection was. But that for me was so huge that like it wasn't made up. Like he felt that.
Um, excellent. Excellent.
Excellent.
um, if you look deeper into it, when people are intimate, there's a massive exchange of energy going on there. It's more than I think any of us realize. And that's why some say, hey, be careful, with your energy. Be selective, just throwing
For
that out there.
sure.
Yeah, it can be a drain on you too if it's not the right situation. And I don't mean psychologically, but also energetically, and you might not even realize it. So, Yanni, you got to believe that you need to be particular on where you purchase them because we're not just buying, a crystal that you're holding in your hand, right?
Yes, yes. You want it to be a certified gemstone dealer. So I have I think that's called GIA, Gemstone something association, and it's a GIA certified um, yoni egg. And so that is specifically where I would buy my egg, if I were to, for the women that I'm coaching.
Hmm. Did
Yeah.
you did you notice immediate benefits?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Um, because like I said, I was numb, right? So I was numb. I didn't really feel much. The muscles were so hypertonic, and I learned to relax the muscles, and then I learned to strengthen them because with the larger, so I always recommend you start with a larger size, believe it or not like some people, women would think that you would start with a smaller, but it's actually the opposite. You start with a larger egg because it's easier for your muscles, to grip. You can feel it. And so when you're doing your pelvic floor exercise, you can feel it. And so that was good. So when I started that, I learned to grip, relax. And I was able to heal myself from all that pain. And then another benefit was the sensitivity. So it also, the egg, it helps to build up the sensitivity in um, the
Along the
feeling
walls
in
and everything. I totally see it now, where if you start
yeah,
bigger, y- you know what's going on there. Now, as you
yeah,
progressively get smaller, you're more sensitive, and now you're connected to smaller. Whereby, if it was the other way around, like I'm not really feeling any difference. We're
yeah.
just about out of time. Um,
Wow, that flew by so fast,
it
right?
did, and I wondered, we're gonna talk about Yanni egg for 30 almost 30 minutes. But now I get it. Now I understand it.
There's so
Um,
much, yes.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing this to the forefront, and also your transparency about everything because there's many women dealing with the same thing. Um, how do they connect with you on a coaching level? Questions you offer intimacy and also empowerment coaching for women. What's the best way to find you, Teja?
Yes, you can reach me email, teja@tejavalentin.com. And then so that would reach me, or I can send you the link for the Calendly. But you'll find it if you go on my website, you'll find the link there. And also the Yonique program, I can send in more information if you reach me through the email. That's coming up. Actually, it's these next 3 days. So,
And that's all
but
about the Yanni egg.
yes,
Gotcha.
yeah,
Okay. And just so everybody wants you to know, it's TejaValentin.com, right?
yep,
Awesome. Thank you for today. Thanks for the insight. Very interesting, especially
right, right, yeah,
especially on the male side. Uh, I'll be doing a little research on that. I appreciate it. We'll catch up soon. Okay.
sure. Okay, great.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.